In the rolling hills of a small, picturesque village nestled far from the bustling cities, there was a farm that had a reputation unlike any other. Most people who visited would first notice the tranquil setting, the wide pastures, the smell of fresh hay, and the contented mooing of cows in the barn. But there was something else that set this farm apart. The women who worked there. They were not your average farmhands. They were bodybuilders, strong, determined, and fiercely proud of their physique. Their biceps were as impressive as any farm animal's muscles, their legs thick and powerful, their shoulders broad and sculpted. In the heart of this farm, located just outside the village, stood a large barn. Inside, there was an atmosphere of hard work, where cattle were milked, hay was stacked, and machinery hummed with the rhythm of a farmer's daily routine. But it wasn't just the animals or the machines that worked in unison here. It was the women, too. These women, known around the village for their striking physiques, were more than just farm workers. They were athletes. Bodybuilders who had chosen a path few had ever imagined. In a world where the concept of strength was often relegated to men, these women defied expectations. Not only did they lift weights in the gym, but they lifted heavy hay bales, buckets of milk, and moved tractors, making them powerful figures in their own right. The story of this extraordinary farm began with one woman, Sarah. She had grown up in a family of farmers where hard work was in her blood. From a young age, she could be seen carrying sacks of grain, repairing fences, and tending to the crops. However, it was in the gym that she discovered her true passion. At the age of 16, Sarah walked into a local gym, feeling intimidated by the rows of weights and the bodybuilders who were there. But rather than backing down, she embraced the challenge. She wanted to be strong, not just for the sake of her farm work, but for herself. After a few months of training, Sarah noticed something incredible. Her body was transforming. Her muscles grew, her strength increased, and soon she was lifting weights that far surpassed her peers. The gym became her sanctuary, and bodybuilding became her obsession. However, Sarah didn't just want to be a typical bodybuilder. She didn't want to be confined to the limits of a gym. She wanted to prove that women too could possess the same strength and endurance as any man, and even surpass it. So she started incorporating farm work into her daily routine. She carried bales of hay as if they were light as feathers, and she hauled buckets of milk without a second thought. The more she trained, the stronger she became. As Sarah's muscles grew, so did her reputation. People from surrounding villages came to watch her lift, amazed by her strength and dedication. Soon, other women began to take notice. They too wanted to be strong. Sarah, never one to keep a good thing to herself, invited them to join her. The farm quickly became a gathering place for women who wanted to lift more than just weights. Every morning, a group of women would meet at the barn to work together, but their work wasn't limited to the usual farm chores. It was different. They would take turns lifting bales of hay and bags of feed, working together to strengthen not just their bodies, but also their bonds. It was hard work, but it was empowering. The women of the farm found strength not only in their muscles, but in each other. Their collective energy was unlike anything anyone had ever seen. They shared tips on lifting, dieting, and training, but also on life and resilience. They laughed together, lifted together, and cheered each other on. Among them was Emily, who was once a shy teenager with a passion for fitness, but lacked the confidence to pursue it. After joining Sarah's group, Emily quickly found herself transforming. Her arms grew strong, her legs firm, and her heart even stronger. She wasn't just building muscle, she was building a new identity. Emily's transformation was emblematic of the entire group. Then there was Jessica, who was already an accomplished bodybuilder when she joined the farm. Having struggled to find a place for herself in a male-dominated sport, she found solace in the farm's close-knit, all-female environment. Her journey on the farm wasn't just about physical strength, but emotional growth as well. The women didn't just use the gym to build muscle. The farm was their true testing ground. Lifting hay bales, hauling sacks of feed, and milking cows, each task pushed their bodies to new limits. The physical demands of farm work made them stronger in ways that the typical gym workout never could. And they didn't stop there. They tackled everything from repairs on the barn to moving large equipment with brute force and finesse. It wasn't about perfection. It was about proving that women could do the hard physical labor that many believed was reserved for men. But it wasn't only their physical strength that was being built. Each day brought new challenges, from the unpredictability of weather conditions to the unforgiving demands of livestock care. Yet these women never faltered. They worked with such focus and determination that it became clear there was nothing they couldn't do. The sight of women bodybuilders working on the farm was something few could imagine. The barn, a place where cattle were once the only creatures to command attention, became a stage for human strength. Their muscles rippled under the sun as they lifted, carried, and moved things that most would never dream of handling. Yet it was not just their physical strength that was so inspiring. It was their sense of purpose. The women's presence on the farm started to change the way people saw strength. No longer was bodybuilding something that men dominated. No longer was farm work something that only men could handle. These women were redefining the very idea of strength. Soon, other farms and gyms began to take notice. It wasn't just about the weight they could lift. It was about their ability to overcome adversity, to challenge expectations, and to show that strength came in many forms. They became local legends, not just because of their bodies, but because of the story they told. The story of women who fought for recognition, who showed the world that strength wasn't defined by gender, and who proved that with hard work and determination, anything was possible. They were changing the conversation around strength, fitness, and what it meant to be a woman in a world that often underestimated them. As the years passed, Sarah, Emily, Jessica, and the rest of the women continued to work the farm and push the boundaries of strength. They became a community, an example, and a symbol of empowerment. They showed the world that women could be bodybuilders, farmers, and athletes. And that strength wasn't just about lifting weights in a gym, but about living a life of resilience, grit, and passion. The farm, once just a quiet place in the countryside, became a beacon for women everywhere who wanted to prove that strength has no limits. It wasn't just about how much you could lift. It was about who you were and the strength you carried within yourself. And so, as the sun set over the barn, casting a golden glow on the women working together, one thing was clear. The world would never again underestimate the power of a woman. The farm, with its strong, unstoppable women, had rewritten the rules of strength for good.